Hey guys, and welcome to my complete guide for Soda, covering the essential information you need to find success in using her in your teams. We will be taking a look at her skills, explain how she works as a character, talk about her pull value, show you some examples for her teams, and I will also make a gameplay showcase. We have quite a lot of things to cover, so let's jump right in. Soda is a burst 1 support character that uses a machine gun. Her main focus is to provide healing for her team, help her team gain stacks for their passives, and deal a bit of crowd control and decent burst damage to the enemies. Soda will work fine as a solo burst 1 unit, but there are some teams where she will work better as a second burst 1 unit, since you will mainly be using Soda for her healing. The focus of Soda's kit centers around her second skill, a consistent source of healing that can be further improved by her other abilities. The initial source of healing is not that much, but when you have her Made Spirit passive fully stacked, her second skill will have another instance of healing that will significantly scale better than the first one. Soda's first ability is responsible for increasing the healing effect because the Made Spirit passive from her skill 1 will actually increase Soda's maximum HP by a certain percent, and this can stack up to 5 times with a 10-second duration. So knowing that Soda's healing scales with her maximum HP, her skill 1 will essentially boost the healing from her skill 2. Also keep in mind that the skill condition from her skill 1 doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be hitting an enemy. This is good to know because if you are in stages where the enemies can stall for a long time, let's say that you're up against Modernia and she is teleporting everywhere, it can be a good idea for you to manually shoot Soda's weapon anywhere on the screen so that you can keep the maximum stacks for her Made Spirit passive. Soda's burst will target 2 random enemies and deal a pretty decent amount of damage, and it will also stun the enemies for 1 second. On top of that, she will also increase the number of buffs on all of her fire-type allies by 1, but this will not exceed the limit for the stack. We can take for example Coco. Her skill 2 can stack up to 15 times, but when Soda uses her burst, the stack count on Coco will not receive an additional stack if it's already at 15 stacks. So this effect from Soda's burst is basically just a tool for speeding up the process of a character getting their passives to maximum stacks, which also includes Soda herself. Next up, let's dive into some necessary details. Soda's second skill is the main priority when it comes to upgrade investment, responsible for her main source of supportive utility and probably the main reason why you are using her. Her skill 1 is the next one on the list because it will directly improve the healing from her second skill. And when it comes to her burst, leveling this up is not necessary because the stun duration and the stack increase will not be affected by the upgrades. So you can leave this at level 1 or get this to level 4 at most and then focus on her other abilities. If you plan on using her in most of your teams, you would probably want to put your best gear on her. So when it comes to which ones you need to upgrade first, you will prioritize upgrading her vest, then her helmet, boots, and the last one will be her gloves. This will ensure that you will get the most HP for every upgrade on her equipment. When it comes to which Harmony Cube is the best one for Soda, you have quite a few options. You can use Resilience to shave off a few milliseconds out of her 2.5 second reload time, and you can also use Bastion Cube to get more ammo for Soda. But even better, you can use the Wingman Cube if you already have that, because it will give Soda 45 more bullets in her magazine. But do keep in mind that your main DPS characters will always have priority for the Harmony Cubes, so just use a cube on Soda if you happen to have an extra slot. So moving on to her team comps. You have Soda as a solo burst 1 unit, and you also have Soda as a secondary burst 1 character. Soda in a solo burst 1 team will work for most cases because she only has a 20-second cooldown on her burst. The only downside is that she won't be providing as much offensive utility compared to the other burst 1 options. So that's where the Soda secondary burst 1 comes in. I think that this is by far the best role for Soda. You can have another burst 1 character that provides more offensive utility, for example Litter, N102, or Volume. They will be the one responsible for giving your team more buffs with their burst, and at the same time, Soda will still be able to provide healing because it only comes from her skill 2, so she doesn't really need to use her burst. Just make sure that you always slot in Soda after the main burst 1 unit because autoplay will always use the burst from the first burst 1 unit. I also want to mention that if you are using Soda with Coco or Rapunzel, you would want to put Soda as the first burst 1 unit because Coco and Rapunzel's burst are situational, so you would only want to use it when the right time comes. So specifically for this case, Soda will mainly be using her burst. Soda is a very flexible unit that can fit in almost every team comp, but a few characters that stand out to me and pairs well with her are Coco and Modernia. These two characters are the only ones that benefit from Soda's stack increase, and it will help Coco and Modernia in combat. Modernia getting more stacks for her skill 1 means that she will be getting to her maximum crit damage buff quicker, and Coco getting more stacks for her skill 2 means that she is more likely to trigger the additional attack debuff on the enemies. I have Soda in the same team that I normally run, and I slotted her in to replace Rapunzel. Going through the simulation room was fairly easy. The only thing is that I had to replace Privity with Helm because Soda's healing is not enough to sustain the team in the final stages of the simulation room. But also keep in mind that I only have level 4 abilities during my testing, so her healing can still be better with more investment. For PvE, I would say that she is comfortably in the middle of A tier. Her best role is a secondary burst 1 unit and a healer, so she is basically an alternative to Rapunzel, but without the ability to revive allies. She also lacks a bit of offensive utility, that's why I did not put her higher on the tier list. Now comparing Soda to the other burst 1 units for PvP, Emma still remains to be the queen of the arena, just because her insane healing can only be countered by extremely high invested characters or some specific units like Miracle Fairy. So based on my testing, I would place her on B tier for PvP. And that concludes my complete guide for Soda. To be honest, she is one of the only few characters that I'm actually excited about, at least for the ones that are releasing in the near future. I was not able to make a pre-release analysis on her because we did not get her skill values early, but when I first saw her get, I was really optimistic. So right now, she is definitely worth going for if you need a good healer for your teams. Getting multiple copies of Soda can also be a good idea because she will get more HP out of that, also increasing her healing output. And also don't forget that you will get an S tier wallpaper if you manage to get Soda to max limit break. With that being said, I hope you found this video useful. If you have Soda or you're planning to get her and use her in your teams, you can optimally do so using the information I covered in this video. Before I let you go, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe because I will be doing a pre-release analysis on all of the collab characters coming to the game very soon, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. With that being said, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.